La fuga de los reos secuestradores, hubo una fuga masiva de reos, todos sabemos. Debido a en esa fuga masiva se fugan dos reos de los secuestradores de mi hija. Uno fue recapturado, pero uno aún sigue libre. A raíz de eso, yo también pedí seguridad en lo que este reo fuera recapturado.
Do you know how far a mother will go to get the right thing done to her child? There are men and women who are activated by such a tragedy and turn the grief that they feel into a movement. This is the real-life narrative of a woman who, after the death of her daughter, turned into a hunter and killed 10 cartel criminals. What extent would someone be willing to go in order to safeguard the lives of his or her family? But what was the writer to that justice in the event that the system did not deliver on the promise? Miriam Elizabeth Rodriguez Martinez, born and raised in 1960 in San Fernando, Tamaulipas, Mexico, especially from an early age seemed like a normal woman, but she is a survivor of the crime of a human generation. However, the increase in the war cartel and violence that destroyed her city led to migration of most of her family members, including her son. San Fernando has turned into a time bomb, whereby smugglers use the city as a base for transferring and distributing narcotics from Mexico to the United States. This sad incident occurred in 2012 when the Zetas cartel abducted Miriam's daughter, Karen, from her home. The family, more specifically, Michael and Shirley, looked for Karen to no avail. Instead, they received ransom notes and threats. The drug cartel, often known as the Zetas due to their violent approach and engagement in drug trafficking and other things including kidnap and ransom activities, demanded a huge amount of money for the release of Karen. Miriam's commitment shone as she moved in the darkness of a city which was ravaged by violence and abandonment. Day by day, her determination to fight for justice was only getting higher and higher, even when she had to watch other victims suffer and their pleas ignored. The authorities, buried under their enormous pile of violence in the region, appeared to be apathetic to her ordeal, which has created a series of unsolved cases in the region. She felt a lot of frustration that forced her to act when others have already resigned themselves to fate. Her initial action was to find Sama, the only cartel member whom she met during a certain event. What would have happened if, instead of having considered it as a matter of revenge, they had fought to bring a form of justice back into the life of the woman and the community who was wronged? With her laptop and lots of enthusiasm, and always carrying a flashlight, Miriam stayed awake many nights doing thorough research work from the internet. For days, she went through profiles in social networks, databases, and articles in local newspapers to reconstruct the life of Sama. For this, she successfully located Sama and gathered information about the people he is connected with, a feeling which was thrilling, yet risky for her. Quiz question. What did Miriam use to assist her in her research work while trying to locate Sama? A smartphone and social media apps, a laptop and a flashlight, a tablet and a notebook, a desktop computer and a camera. Correct answer will be revealed shortly. Make a guess. Correct answer, a laptop and a flashlight. To gain closer access to the cartel, Miriam decided to go undercover. Transforming herself into a seemingly ordinary citizen, she adopted a new identity, complete with a fabricated backstory that would allow her to blend in with Sama's neighborhood. With each detail of her disguise, she felt the weight of her mission. She was a lone warrior against an empire of crime. Armed with fake surveys disguised as community outreach, she knocked on doors, asked questions, and listened intently, all the while gathering valuable intelligence about the cartel's operations. Days turned into weeks as she navigated this treacherous game. Miriam collected enough information to present to the authorities, convinced that the evidence she had compiled would spur them into action. Yet, when she finally approached them, she was met with a familiar wall of indifference. The law enforcement agencies, corrupt and strained by the rampant crime, were slow to respond. Her frustration mounted as she watched them dismiss her findings, viewing her as an annoyance rather than an ally in their fight against crime. Miriam's unwavering determination continued. She persisted in identifying and locating more gang members involved in Karen's abduction. Her efforts paid off when she discovered a photograph of Sama and his crew. A breakthrough came on September 15, 2014, Mexican Independence Day. Miriam's son, Luis, spotted Sama in his shop. He immediately contacted his mother, who alerted the authorities. Sama was arrested and, under pressure, provided information about Karen's whereabouts. One of the names Sama revealed was Christian Jose Zapata Gonzalez, an 18-year-old accomplice. During his interrogation, Miriam displayed remarkable compassion and understanding for the young man. Her kindness touched Christian, who confessed to the crime and led the authorities to the ranch where Karen's body was buried. In 2015, she led herself to an abandoned ranch near San Fernando, Tamaulipas, a place scarred by a recent gunfight, its walls riddled with bullet holes. As she sifted through the debris of the dilapidated house, her heart raced when she stumbled upon a scarf that belonged to Karen. Alongside it, she found a seat cushion from her daughter's truck. This grim discovery confirmed Miriam's worst fears. Her daughter had likely been killed. Despite forensic reports stating that Karen's body had not been recovered at the ranch, Miriam clung to the hope that the truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered. The situation took a pivotal turn when a group of scientists confirmed that Karen's remains were found at the ranch, prompting extensive excavation in the area. Yet, it was only through Miriam's insistence on a second examination that a fragment of Karen's femur was finally located. Each piece of evidence she uncovered deepened her resolve. Driving home from the ranch one day, Miriam passed a barbecue restaurant where she had dined with Karen just days before her daughter's abduction. There, she encountered Elvia Uris Betancourt, a familiar neighbor. During their conversation, Miriam felt an unsettling vibe when she inquired about Karen's whereabouts, and Elvia's evasive response. Trusting her instincts, she began to investigate Elvia further, leading her to discover that Elvia had a romantic connection with one of Karen's abductors, who was imprisoned at the time. Miriam's investigative methods became increasingly bold. She began stalking the prison during visiting hours, waiting for Elvia to arrive. Her persistence paid off when Elvia was arrested, and it was revealed that ransom calls had been traced back to Elvia's home. Yet another win for Miriam's relentless pursuit of justice. Months passed, and her determination only grew stronger. She eventually crossed paths with Enrique Yoel Rubio Flores, identified as a key player in her daughter's abduction. Known in the media as a born-again Christian, Flores piqued Miriam's interest. Following him back to his hometown in Aldama, she learned from his grandmother that he attended church regularly. Undeterred, Miriam began attending Mass at his church, gathering information while keeping a watchful eye on Flores. After contacting authorities with her findings, Miriam was instrumental in the arrest of Flores at a chapel. As his family pleaded for mercy, Miriam's anger flared. Where was their compassion when her daughter was taken from her? By this point, Miriam, now 56 years old, was firmly entrenched in her quest, showing little regard for her own safety. Miriam's tireless efforts led her to another suspect, a young florist who had once been part of the cartel. After receiving an anonymous tip, she tracked him down selling sunglasses near the US-Mexico border. Recognizing her, the man attempted to flee, but Miriam was prepared. She chased him down, tackling him to the ground and detaining him until the authorities arrived. Her actions had begun to resemble a one-woman mission, akin to that of a vigilante hero. For 3 relentless years, Miriam dedicated herself to identifying the gang members responsible for Karen's kidnapping and murder. She honed her skills in surveillance and disguise, dyeing her hair, using fake IDs, and posing as health workers or election officials to gain access to gang family members. Despite being frequently met with closed doors, her determination was unwavering. Miriam's investigative prowess earned her recognition in Mexico, transforming her into a symbol of courage for families suffering from similar tragedies. Miriam, Mexican woman who was concerned that her son accidentally killed during one of the rescue operations, became a victim of violence herself. On May 10, 2017, which was Mother's Day in the Mexican state of Michoacan, she was shot 13 times by escaped prisoners who were related to the gang which kidnapped her daughter. People of this great nation were heavily saddened by her death, and this led to massive protest and call for justice. Subsequently, in Lewis, the figure with a mother who had striven hard for perseverance was painted in fear of having to take such a venture. Thus, the story of Miriam goes on to inspire the people by telling them what costs those who stand against powerful criminals organizations. Back in her hometown, there is a bronze mark which encompasses the story of a mother who risked her life for her kids' sake. It is important to note that Miriam never let go of justice even in death. This is evidenced by the following. A month after her death, police operation based on a vital clue related to her case was made, and a woman associated with Karen's captors was apprehended. It is also necessary to highlight that Miriam had founded Parecidos de San Fernando, a collective whose purpose is to help the families in search of the missing relatives. After the murder of one of the members, the group is still going strong under the leadership of Lewis. However, membership reduced after this incident due to fear of retaliation from the cartel. Miriam is still with all of us, not with us physically, but with her spirit, her soul, and her fight for justice, illuminating us in our daily struggles that, since her death in Mexico, are plagued with violence and criminality. Thus, making the film and Miriam Rodriguez narrate the heart of every mother and the power when grief is turned to fight. Her story is inspirational, and on one side encourages people to face injustice, and on the other hand, stresses upon people to be safe in an unsafe world. It is about the strong woman's love for her daughter. In case this video was interesting to you, do not forget about comments and subscribing.